Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. This is going to be an example of what we are starting to develop over on Patreon that we are going to share with this particular video with the Evolutionary family over on YT, as well as Brighty and Rumble and BitChute, just to give you guys an idea of what's going into that Superhuman potential collection over on Patreon. And it's more than just what we're covering right here, but it's an example again of what I would call basic knowledge we need to have in order to really understand human potential. And human potential is far more than what most people would realize. We've talked about in previous videos the meridian system on the body, and this is basically a system that has been equated to the vascular network, which again brings nourishment, carries away waste products, and super oxygenates our body. We obviously could not function without the vascular network, but we also couldn't function without the meridians. This is the energetic equivalent. And the meridians here, you see there's 12 principal meridians, and there's also what we call 8 extraordinary vessels, or extraordinary ones that are kind of like reservoirs. There is an awful lot to understand when you start delving into medical Qigong. It's not, it's something that takes a long time to really grasp all the nuances of. It really is going to school again in so many ways, but it will illuminate so many concepts that maybe just fly right past us, where we don't really understand these things. I would say again, if you want to understand meridians, nadis in the Hindu, the yogic system, again, it's kind of the vascular equivalent in energy. So these ley lines in the body are bringing energy to the organ systems. They are working again to support the life system as a whole. And in the Western world, we really hadn't put any sort of attention to the meridian system. We have to look to the east, and most people will recognize acupuncture right away as being an accepted practice in this day and age. Of course, it goes back thousands of years. So again, the 12 meridians of acupuncture is the superhighway of your chi, the life force itself, the transport system of your vital energy through your body and organs. It's at the core of traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture. Meridians are a circulatory system of energy, much like the circulatory system of blood. The difference is, instead of blood, they're allowing the flow of vital energy called qi. It's very simple, and yet also very, very complex. There are a number of concepts connected to the whole system, and understanding it. And what I want to do in this series is first go over and give basics and insight, and then in other videos, as we bring it up, we'll deep dive for those that really want to go into it in a lot more depth. We will deep dive into each particular topic. Now, we've touched on the meridian system again, and see, each one of these points is an acupuncture point. There's hundreds of acupuncture points. They can be utilized with needles, but what you may not understand is that to an advanced energy worker, or even basically somebody that's moderately experienced in energy work, you can actually put your fingers right on those points and send energy into the meridians without using a needle. So again, it's one of those things where some people like tools, and other people just maybe don't need the tools as much. And again, this is something that might take time to develop. It really is, again, about our ability to focus focus. And this is one of the things that's not cultivated in our society, is giving a lot of attention to building your yi, building your intention and your focus. And the stronger we can focus, the stronger we could have a still mind that is focused on one thing, the more powerful we can be as far as healers goes. So again, the meridians themselves are broken down to two categories, the Jingmai and the Luomai. The Jingmai represents most of what people often know about as the meridians. The Luomai are the various connections between the different Jingmai meridians. And it's interesting to note that in reality, unprocessed emotions, traumatic events, can actually be stored along the Luomai, and these will have a physical location. Have you ever had a massage and all of a sudden started crying or started to have an emotional release? Well, again, there's a reason for that. It's because there is a physical place where certain energies are stored that we have not processed and have not dealt with. So we truly are, again, a mind, body, spirit complex, just like the law of one states. We're a complex, and we are complex individuals, complex beings. So the meridian system also follows the 5 elements theory, and we talked about that in a preceding video, and we will again go much, much deeper into it in successive videos, in which different qualities, both physical and symbolic, are grouped within 5 categories. The theory separates the organs into hollow and solid categories. The hollow organs are the stomach, bladder, gallbladder, and the large and small intestines. The solid organs are heart, liver, spleen, kidneys, and lungs. Each element has a range of qualities that are used to diagnose disease and dysfunction. They also provide prognostic tools to help the body regain balance and health. While there is no quote-unquote Western scientific basis in 5 elements theory, it's important to understand the theory for the practice of acupuncture, and also obviously for energy work, whether we are labeling our energy work pranic healing or Reiki or Qigong, medical Qigong. Again, these are all labels, and labels because they come from certain traditions. But ultimately, it's all about working with energy in order to better ourselves, mind, body, spirit, and restore balance to ourselves, mind, body, and spirit. So some organs are also part of the principal meridians, which are the 12 standard meridians. These are the meridians people are most familiar with. Some of these meridians correspond with a specific major organ. All the principal meridians run through a peripheral limb, either a hand or a foot. It's very important to note. And this is why when we do certain Qigong exercises, we're opening up specifically the meridians by stretching and moving the fingers and the hands, and also through moving our feet. From there, each channel travels either up or down the body. Additionally, there are also 8 extraordinary meridians which are thought to hold energy and do not directly correspond with any of the organs. 3 of these are commonly used acupuncture points. As part of a larger system, the meridians bridge the gap between the tangible body and the qi, or energy. So again, also the energy body, which is layered. There are many layers to the energy body. How many? I think the most gifted psychics have been able to see about 14 or 15 different layers, and the reality is it probably goes on quite a bit past there. So, this is just an amazing thing to start to understand, because again, our emotions affect our health more than Western medicine would realize. Again, it's in the East that we find a lot of direct knowledge that I think is really leftover knowledge from previous ages, previous Bronze Age, Silver Age, etc. So when we look through the use of various practices like acupuncture, massage, energy work, exercise, diet, herbal remedies, Qigong, we can absolutely affect the overall flow of energy in the body. And one of the things that might not get recognized enough is the importance of fascia. What is fascia? Many people probably don't even know what fascia is. And there are some simple answers, and then there are some deeper, more complex answers. When you look at fascia, you could find a lot of clinical studies on fascia, and then you could also find a lot of references in Qigong to the importance of fascia. This article is from Frontiers in Neurology, Fascia as a Regulatory System in Health and Disease. And it's connective tissue. Yes, absolutely, it's connective tissue. But when we look to the Western system, as this is saying right here, teaching the form and function of fascia is notably absent from most professional healthcare education, and the lack of awareness limits current treatments. Conventional healthcare has historically overlooked fascia, framing it not as a system that facilitates and modulates sensory input, but as inert filler material. Wow, nothing can be more not understanding the bigger picture than making a statement like that. Understanding fascial anatomy and its multifaceted role as a regulatory system can transform how clinicians approach managing health and treating pain and disease. It's interconnected with everything in our body. It is the most abundant material in the body, and it's everywhere. It is one system that works its way into every nook and cranny in our body. So by understanding the dynamics of the fascial system as it relates to other organ systems of the body, musculoskeletal, neurovascular, endocrine, and immune, we can illuminate its role in the regulation of pain, locomotion, inflammation, and autonomic conditions. People experiencing these conditions have complex needs and difficult healthcare encounters, which can lead to clinical traumatization and mutual distrust between patients and clinicians. Continued research can help clinicians understand and improve care for problem patients by revealing an anatomical reason for their pain that travels and manifests in different ways on different days. Think about this again. Because, how many times have you had these phantom pains that might shoot through your body? It might be in the side, like at the ribs. Next thing you know, there's an ache on your big toe. Or you get this strange pain in your finger, and that travels up your shoulder. What's going on there? Well, often it literally is relating to the fascia, and it's relating to the transference of nerve signals going through the meridians that we have talked about. So this particular paper reviews the emerging body of evidence on fascia as a regulator of the body's sensory input, and demonstrates how fascia-informed care can potentially improve patient outcome and clinician experiences. Again, this affects every system in the body, and I would be curious to see exactly how much training is given to the average doctor, how much time they actually spend on this instead of treating it like an inert material. How does fascia affect movement? It's really the key to everything when you really look at it, and it goes deeper than that. Here's 10 fast facts on fascia. So when you look at fascia again, it's just an amazing material. For years, Western science thought it was a passive tissue. And so this is, again, we need to distinguish this because it was understood in Qigong, medical Qigong, traditional Chinese medicine. This is an extremely important material in our body, and it affects really every aspect of us. And it could affect every single system in the body. So in Western medicine, they thought the fascia was lifeless. This is where the qi flows through. This is where the meridians are. So it's again showing nothing could be farther from the truth. The Western medical mindset That fascia is lifeless. It is literally where the life flows. Simply meant to protect muscles from friction, to house nerves and blood vessels as they travel through the muscles and connect muscles to bones. They do those things, of course, but it's much more central to the process of being alive than researchers have previously given it credit for. It connects your connective tissue and bones, muscles, ligaments, tendons. It's like a thin film, mostly made of collagen, that runs in a continuous stretch all through your body. The word comes from Latin meaning band because it encloses and connects everything in your body like a band might. When it's healthy, fascia is stabilizing, separating, protecting, sliding, twisting, and transferring energy. When it's not healthy, it becomes sticky, flat, and tight, thus preventing it from functioning flexibly. When was the last time you had a muscle knot? It was actually caused by tight fascia. We're getting deep into this tissue today. In addition to absorbing the physical shock of impact, fascia forms scar tissue after an injury or surgery. Scar tissue is one of those areas that can get tense or tight when fascia is unhealthy because it's made of fascia. It's a cell highway. Cells travel through fascia to keep muscles working independently and otherwise disperse organic information through all of your organ, muscle, and vascular systems. It's an enormous communication system. This is why it can be affected by so many different body functions. Trauma can cause fascial issue. Trauma, emotional or physical, can change the shape of our bodies. For example, physical trauma permanently tightens or affects one area of the body because fascia is one connected, continuous, membrane-like thread. That one change can ripple out and affect seemingly unrelated areas of the body. Like if you pulled on a corner of your t-shirt and accidentally showed your belly button. Just think about like when you take cellophane wrap, and if you were to yank it and twist it and then try to straighten it out again, that gives you an example of how it can be bound. Emotional trauma can have effects on things like your posture, which means that if you're standing cramped all day, every day, your fascia is in a prolonged state of crumpling and sticking. Once you know that's happening, you could step in and hone your focus so that you're aware of how your physical body is presenting. Emotional unrest itself can be a culprit. The actual consistency and biological footprint of burdensome emotions can build up in the body and travel through the fascia. When this happens, you feel tense, heavy, and restricted. Releasing and moving through negative emotions can help you restore your fascia to health. And just like all other bodily functions, fascia needs water to survive and behave. Without consistent hydration, fascia strands wither and become brittle, resulting in inflexibility and muscle pain during attempted movement. Can also get stuck more easily when it's dried. Your fascia will glide and slide if you keep yourself hydrated. As I take a drink of water there. Okay, so 5 ways you can keep your fascia healthy. Stretch every day, yoga, Qigong, things like that. Foam rolls, we're going to touch on some other things too. Sauna, cardio, all these things can absolutely help. So the question comes back. This question says, does low back surgery cause damage to the fascia? Of course, because anytime you cut into the fascia, you're affecting your entire body system. So I would never look at any surgery ever as minor. No surgery is minor, because anytime you make a cut that goes past the superficial skin into the fascia, you're changing things. You are absolutely changing things, and they'll never go back to being exactly the same. Now, I don't want to make it sound like if you've had surgery, there's no help for you. Absolutely, you're just probably going to have to work a little harder at it with things, again, like yoga, Qigong, general stretching, exercise, movement, and also movement with the intent to relax and release tension. So when you look at this again, surgery can affect fascia by creating scar tissue, which is inflexible and restricting movement is then limited. Nerve and circulatory vessels are affected. and the lymphatic drainage is impaired. So when you have any surgery, again, I don't believe there's any minor surgery, it's going to affect the mobility. It's going to affect the nerves and circulatory system. It's going to even affect the lymphatic drainage. And some areas of the body, it can affect fluid retention and lead to edema. Overuse of a part of the body causes the fascia to be restricted, can be very uncomfortable. Again, if we do a particular movement out of the blue and then next day we're really, really sore, again, the soreness is in the fascia. Fractures due to impact injuries. A broken bone has healed, but the area around it's sore and movement is limited for a much longer time. Poor posture absolutely is a problem caused by lack of stretching and exercising. Causes the fascia to stiffen, restrict movements of the surrounding joints. Immobility for any reason can cause the fascia to densify, and then the body becomes stiff with difficulty in regaining movement. So, I have seen the cases where there was one woman had a lump removed from her breast, and then she had developed low back issues, and it was related to the fascia. This is exactly the type of thing, surgery on the leg, and all of a sudden there's abdominal issues that pop up. The fascia is one connected tissue throughout the entirety of the body. So again, there is no surgery that is minor, and every surgery will have an effect on the fascia. Now, you can absolutely get a massage, and that could definitely help. And myofascial release almost feels like they're not doing much. It's not a deep tissue. It's exactly the opposite. As the fascia lies between the muscles and the skin, there are many massage therapists that may offer myofascial release treatments to help relieve sore muscles. So you could definitely look into that. You could do to some degree in certain parts of your body. You can do this yourself. Again, the terminology here is myofascial release. Cupping is just absolutely invaluable to me, and I've been utilizing this for forever as a form of myofascial release. Cupping will basically pull on the fascia, lift up the skin. It is amazing what it can do. It'll bring blood flow into the area. You could get cupping sets as low as maybe $15, $20 on Amazon. And using them regularly could absolutely increase your mobility, flexibility, and decrease stiffness and soreness. This was, something I would do pretty much every single person I would work on in the past. Again, I've been a massage therapist, a personal trainer. I've coached people with nutritional, sports nutrition advice again. And also rehab and physical therapy has been part of what I've done in the past. And, this is just part of, this well of knowledge that you accumulate from, decades of actual hands-on experience and also with your own issues. As I've ruptured L5 and L4, and through the practice of Qigong, as well as decompressing the spine, different yogic and Taoist Qigong techniques to keep the spine decompressed, as well as just a simple inversion table, have made it so that I did not get back surgery. I personally would pretty much never do back surgery, and would avoid surgery of any kind if I could possibly do it. So I've been blessed to never have any surgeries, and I think that has aided in my flexibility, which for a 60-year-old is pretty good. And again, you can do this too, and you could always recoup anything that you feel you have lost, at least to some degree. So cupping is just amazing. It really can do wonders. And you could, self-cup. Of course, you'll need somebody probably to put the cups on the middle of your back unless you're extremely flexible. And, again, fascia. There's deep fascia found between adjacent muscles and superficial fascia, which lies between the skin and the muscles. What's interesting is a lot of things coming into the Western science world, which all they had to do would be open up, traditional Chinese medicine books, medical Qigong books, and it's been in print forever. Yet now it's as if they're discovering in the Western system this for the first time. Again, sometimes we need to find things out for ourselves, and that's what a lot of Western practitioners are doing as they're integrating in a lot of the Eastern practices and coming to these realizations. What is evidence-based about myofascial chains, a systematic review? This is from PubMed, and it talks about peer-reviewed human anatomic dissection reporting morphologic continuity between muscular constituents of examined meridians were included if no study demonstrating a structural connection between two muscles was found. Articles on general anatomy of the corresponding body region were targeted. The objective was to provide evidence for the existence of 6 myofascial meridians proposed by Myers based on anatomical dissection studies. So, what they did find was that the evidence suggests that most of the skeletal muscles, they can conclusively say, are directly linked by the connective tissue. So what they discovered is basically what we've known in medical Qigong and traditional Chinese medicine, that it's one system. And when you go in and change it, at any particular location on the body, you will end up affecting other subsystems or other related systems because it's all part of one big system. And, again, I find it fascinating and interesting that Western science is finally starting to catch up with this concept, myofascial chains. And, again, this is linking everything together. There's 2 points called the shoulder nest, and there's, again, our Qua when we're talking about Qigong and we're talking about Tai Chi. And we move in alignment. We learn how to move and utilize the entirety of the body as a system. And this is something that really has been missing in understanding, again, in Western science, but totally understood in the East. This evidence for these myofascial chains is right there, and myofascial meridians, even to utilize the terminology that we've had, in traditional Chinese medicine and medical Qigong. As you can see, look at this now, the Western world is catching up. As you can see, medical dictionaries and anatomy textbooks all of a sudden talking about this and starting to understand it. It's a beautiful thing as we see the link between acupuncture and the fascial network, because it's basically one and the same when we look at this. This is how the nerves are a part of this system, and the nerves bring the electrical impulses to actually trigger motion. And this is huge. So Qigong and muscle fascia, this is where everything is completely intertwined. And I wanted to show you one of the concepts with Qigong. This is from Mantak Chia's book that is talking about Iron Shirt Qigong. A little bit blurry here, but what it talks about is creating qi pressure, life force pressure. Think of the fascia as a tire, right? It's supposed to operate at a certain inflation. If you inflate it too much, it can be an issue. If it's deflated, it can absolutely wear out prematurely and irregularly. And this is very much the case with the fascia, as basically it is how so much of the chi flows through our body. So when we consciously take in, and it's all about your focus and your intention. How do you do it? It's simply, you have to kind of fake it till you make it. You have to visualize drawing the life force in. There's many different techniques to do that. And bring it into your body, and it literally will be stored in these different places that we've talked about. The dantians, there's 3 dantians that we've talked about: the lower dantian, the middle dantian, and then the upper dantian, and their corresponding energies. The lower dantian is again about 2 to 3 inches below the navel. It is filled with what we call Jing, which is a more physical, you could think of it as a more viscous, a heavier form of the life force. The middle dantian is basically between the heart and solar plexus chakra. That's your emotional center. And the chi there is a less dense version, a less viscous version than the chi in the lower dantian. And then the upper chen, the upper dantian is where the shen, the spirit is basically stored, and that's right at the pineal gland area. And that is less viscous, less dense. But there's also, again, the fact that it travels through the fascia. There are the 8 extraordinary vessels, which we'll end up getting into each one of those as well in future videos. These are also reservoirs for the chi, and also there are techniques to bring the chi into your bones and into the blood marrow, and the bone marrow where the red blood cells are made. And again, this is called packing process breathing, and there are different other terms for this. But this has the potential to super strengthen our immune system, keep us healthy. And, again, when we look at the Western concepts of irradiating the bones, that to me is just the exact opposite thing of what you would want to do if you were faced with any sort of life-threatening disease, because that's just going to weaken the chi. It's going to weaken ultimately the Wei Chi field. Wei is external. Nei is internal, Nei is internal, Wei is external, and your Wei Chi field is basically your shields to keep different pathogens and anything that could lower your immune system out. So when we bring in the chi pressure improves, and it's almost like, again, okay, here's another analogy. Take an egg, right? And if you could squish an egg into a balloon and the balloon is deflated, throw it up in the air, let it fall on the concrete, it's going to splat. Now, if you put the same egg in the balloon, but you blow the balloon up, the chances are it's not going to splat. It's going to be protected by the air. This is what we do when we bring the life force in with intentional breathing practices. The chi creates this pressure. It creates this energy that flows between the organs and through all of our systems. And again, where does it flow through? If it's flowing through your fascia. So anytime that you would have any type of surgery or impact to your fascia, and it, not even just surgery, just say if you're sitting all day and you're not stretching it out, you're going to create, again, the conditions where the chi will have inhibited flow, and it won't be able to get to certain organ systems. So when you look at intentionally drawing the life force in, there really, in my mind, this is my opinion, I don't think there's anything that would be above that as far as protecting our health. Taking in more of the life force, learning how to store it, and also learning how to circulate it, I think is the number one thing you could do for your health and longevity. I don't think there's anything, that's more important in my experience, besides obviously, not eating a lot of toxic foods and, supporting the system with good, healthy, whole foods, organic as much as possible. So, again, with Qigong, we create the conditions that supports the Qi, supports the body, and helps to keep it youthful. Bagua is a moving meditation. It's a martial art. It goes in circles. It actually goes and moves according to the I Ching trigrams. And it's fascinating because, again, what does it do? It's all about using the entirety of your system in order to create power and Fajing. Fajing is an explosive energy that's more than just the physical momentum, more than just the kinetic energy. It's literally tapping into the life force and utilizing that as well. Xing Yi and Tai Chi are also other internal forms of utilizing this Qi force. So, absolutely, when you're doing a practice like Tai Chi, for instance, it's going to be targeting the fascia and all the connective tissues. It's about keeping them youthful and invigorated. It's about inflating your body to the proper levels of Qi for health and harmony. Most people don't have that, and it makes all the difference in the world. Again, your immune system response will be so much stronger. And also your ability to relax and be at peace will increase greatly as well. One thing that a lot of people will use to target the fascia too are these foam rollers. That's become a big item in maybe the last 20 years. You'll see people doing this to target the fascia. There's so many different things you can do to benefit your health that don't really cost you anything but simply your time, effort, and energy. And then it'll give you back a huge return of energy and also help to maintain your youthfulness as we go on up in age. Look at these guys. They're all off. Maybe they're off for their morning swim. As always, guys, look forward to your comments and questions. To make an appointment with us, it's evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com or EEARTS@hushmel.com. And then on Patreon, of course, you can just directly email us on the Patreon app. Source bless and namaste.